So, welcome to Swiflearn online classes. As you've already known, that Swiflearn is the India's most sincere learning destination for classes 1 to 10. Over here, all the classes from 1 to 10, everything will be live and 100% live and interactive classes. If you have any sort of doubt, you can ask to the teacher in the classes only, and the teacher will explain all the concepts in the classes, right? Secondly, we give personalized attention to each and every student क्योंकि हमारे स्कूल हमारे पर बैच में maximum 6 students रहता है and it may be a batch of 1 student or 2 student also, like आप जैसे select करोगे वैसे ही आपका batch होगा and maximum 6 students रहता है which help the student also to ask any sort of doubt without any hesitation, and this also help us to keep an eye on you, how you are progressing, where you are lagging, and definitely this will help you to improve yourself, right? Hi Pragya, how are you? Good afternoon. Chalo. So coming to the third thing is we have a very good dedicated academic mentor team who continuously track how you are progressing, how you are going, and like whether you are doing all the homework properly or not, in which portion of the topic you were lagging basically. And this detail will give the detailed feedback will be given to you so that you will be able to understand where you need the improvement, and definitely this will help you to improve. And the fourth thing is we cover the syllabus as per your school examination schedule. So sometime it happened that you are having some topic which is coming in your school exam, but we have not done it yet in the Swiflearn classes. So we will do those topics first and then we will move on to the rest of the topic. So this type of custom request generally we handle. Other than this, we have a lot of different types of extra classes like doubt classes. PTM is also there. Case study based classes are there. Revision classes are there before your school exam. So you will get the full support from Swiflearn team according to the total education support, right? Coming to the key features of Swiflearn now. So apart from the general features which I have already mentioned to you, we have the detailed progress report. We prepare it for each and every student. जैसे आपको स्कूल में भी मिलते हैं progress report, तो इधर भी रहेगा. And there will be PTM like you have it in the school. So PTM may your parents will be able to interact with us directly. If they have any suggestions and if they have any sort of feedback, they can share with us. We are always there to listen to them, and definitely we will try our best to help you out, right? Coming to the second thing, that is the SAT which we have, which happen in every Sunday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. So over here you will be able to perform, and based on the rank also you will get the scholarship. So you can perform and your rank along with the name will be given on the leaderboard. Coming to the third and the fourth most important thing is, after completing each and every chapter, what you have to do is you have to practice writing question answers, right? So we have the objective, subjective, both type of assessments, mock test, and so on. So just write it down, the question answers mainly which happen in case of the subjective answer, you lose most of the marks because you cannot sometimes put in the key points or the key features, or sometimes you forget to write draw the diagram or give any sort of chemical equation which is very very important for your answer, right? So here you will be able to write down the answer and submit it so that we will check your answer and we will give you the tips and tricks how to write the answers properly in a better way according to the marks it contain, and this will definitely help you to score full marks in your school exam as well as the board exam, right? So for experience all these things, you have to book the trial class. So book it anytime whenever you are free, and then enroll your name in our regular batches so that we will meet every time and we will discuss a lot about the different topics, right? Hi Meher. Okay, so now let's move on to the topic which we are also going to discuss. We have already started with the topic yesterday, and we are going to discuss the same topic, the second half of the topic, that is the respiratory system in human being. Before that, let me remind you, whoever has not subscribed our channel, please subscribe it and press the bell icon so that you will never miss any of the update of the upcoming sessions. And also, you will get the notification before 30 minutes so that you can be there in our live classes and you can ask any sort of doubt regarding the topic in the chat box, right? And as you already know, whoever will give me most of the answers correctly till the end of the session, so you will be the student of the session. I'll write your name on the screen. right? So don't forget to like, comment, and share also. Hi, Sushil. Yes, so let's start with today's topic. We are going to study about the respiratory system in detail in today's session. So we have already started with this topic in the previous session, and we have already done with what is respiration, and the total respiration in plants we have completed in the previous few sessions. So we are going to discuss about the respiration in animal, right? So in today's session, basically we are going to discuss about the parts of the respiration. What are the different parts of our body which are involved in the respiration? So this will be the different respiratory organs. Main respiratory organs, as you already know, is the lungs. So what is the main external structure as well as the internal structure of lungs, we will discuss about it. Then we will move on to the working of the lungs, and finally we will go to the gaseous exchange, which is the main thing which happens within the lungs, right? Okay, yes, Pragya, we will do that chapter. Let us first finish this chapter and then we will move on to the economic importance chapter, right? Chalo. So let's quickly recap some of the concepts which we have already studied in the previous session. Quickly give me the answer. Why do the cells need oxygen? Quickly. Why do we need the oxygen? Why do the cells need the oxygen? Or if you think about the whole thing, you can understand that all the uh, living organism, whether it is a plant or animal or a microorganism, everyone need oxygen, right? Yes, to respire. Very good. Hi, Ankrit. Good afternoon, beta. Now let's move on to the second question. Dash respiration occurs in muscle cells when we do a lot of exercise. What will be the answer? What type of respiration takes place? Anaerobic. Very good. So what is formed basically in the muscle cells? Lactic acid, right? We already have studied this in the previous session. Chalo, let's move on to the third question. Plant respiration occur in which part of the day? Day and night, or only daytime, or only nighttime? Yes, getting the answers all the time. Very good. Yes, Pragya. So you have given most all the answers correctly. So let's begin with today's session. Let us study about the different parts of respiration today. Okay. So first, mainly the respiration. If I see it in a whole way, the total process, then we can divide the whole process into four main steps. Okay, so what are the four main steps? First one is the physical step, which is just the breathing. So anybody, can you tell me what is breathing? Just in your own word, just tell me what is breathing in the chat box. Okay, the second step will be your external respiration. So we will see what is external respiration and which part of the respiration will be called as the external one. Third step will be your internal respiration. So which part of the respiration is internal and why it is called so. And the fourth thing is the cellular respiration. So we have already got an idea about the breathing, the very first one, and the cellular respiration, the very last one, right? So cellular respiration mein kya hota hai? We have already got an idea in the previous sessions that oxidation of the food substances takes place, means the oxidative breakdown of the glucose takes place to provide us with the energy, carbon dioxide and water. This is the main thing which happens within the cells. So the cellular respiration we already have an idea, and breathing we already have an idea, that is inhalation and exhalation. Yes, very good, Pragya. So inhalation and exhalation, or we can also call it as the inspiration and expiration. That is nothing but we are breathing in the air which is rich in oxygen and breathing out the air which is rich in carbon dioxide. So this is breathing and cellular respiration we already know. So we have to know about the external and the internal respiration in today's session in detail, right? So let us start with the four steps. So first step is the breathing or ventilation, that is taking in air, giving out air, which is reaching the, while taking in the air should be rich in oxygen, and while breathing out the air should be rich in carbon dioxide. Second step is the external respiration, which is the exchange of the gases in between the air and the blood. So to be very specific, let me tell you where it takes place. It basically takes place within the lungs, and within the lungs we already know that the air sac like structures are present, millions and millions of air sac like structures which are known as alveoli. So alveoli are present which are carrying the oxygen inside. When we are breathing it, basically the alveoli will take the will have the oxygen which they will give it in the blood capillaries, and the blood capillaries within the lungs already which is rich in carbon dioxide, they will give out the carbon dioxide to the alveoli so that we can breathe it out, and while breathing out we will give out the carbon dioxide from our body. Up to this much clear hai? Yes, got it? Now let's move on to the third part, that is the internal respiration. What do you mean by internal respiration? और ये internal respiration कहाँ होता है? You already know that whenever we are eating the food, it is going into the digestive system. When we are breathing in, the oxygen is going into the blood capillaries through the lungs and all, right? So finally, the food and the oxygen both are going inside the blood capillaries which are going to all the different parts of the body. Now, when it is going to all the different parts of the body, there will be again the exchange of the gas, that is the oxygen will be given to the tissue fluid, okay, so that each and every cells will be able to get the oxygen, and in turn within the cell what is happening? Respiration is happening, and with the respiration the product, that is the carbon dioxide, will be formed within the cell which is needed to be removed, right? So that will be removed from the cell, and over here when the gaseous exchange is taking place within all the different organs of our body, that is oxygen is getting inside the tissue fluid and carbon dioxide is removed from that, this type of respiration is known as the internal respiration. Fine. Hi Ria, how are you? Okay. And the last one, last but not the least, you already know that what is the cellular respiration, which will take place within all the cells. That is nothing but the oxidative breakdown of the food particles, where we will get the energy in the form of ATP. We have already studied this in the previous session. Hi Payal. Okay, so along with the ATP, we will get the carbon dioxide and water. Okay, so this ATP will help us to do all the different activities throughout day and night, and carbon dioxide we will breathe it out, and water, it will be helped in all the different chemical reactions which are taking place within our body. Clear up to this much? Yes. Okay, glucose is the simplest form of carbohydrate, Ria. Got your answer? Yes? Okay. So this is all about the 4 steps of the respiration. Let us see now one by one what is happening. So take a deep breath. Yes, let's start. Okay, with the activity. Take a breath and breathe out. Any change you have observed mainly in the chest cavity? Yes. So when we are breathing in, the lung is expanding, and when we are breathing out, the lungs are contracting. So what is happening in between? We are taking in the air. That is why the volume of the lung will be increased, and why we are breathing out, the lungs will be contracted or the volume will be decreased, because we are giving out the air. Yes. So it will again come back to the original size. Yes, very good. So, apart from the lungs, is there any other change which takes place within the chest cavity? Yes. So, do you know what are the different bones which are basically protecting the lungs? Any idea? The rib cage. You have heard of it, right? So when we are breathing in along with the lungs which is expanding, the rib cage is also coming outward, And we have a membraned organ which is known as diaphragm, which is present just beneath the lungs, at the base of the lungs. It will become flat. Okay, and when we will breathe out, again the diaphragm will bend like this. It will go to its previous position, and the lungs will come back to its original size. That is, it will contract, or it will, the volume will be decreased, and the rib cages will also go back to its original position. Up to this much clear hai? So these are the various changes which takes place in the rib cages, lungs and the diaphragm when we are breathing in and breathing out. Now, do you think that this breathing is a voluntary action or an involuntary action? So, as you already know, we do not have to think about, okay, now I have to breathe. Without breathing, I'll not be able to survive. So, let me remember that I have to breathe. I have to breathe. Do you think that we do this? Yes? No, na. So, what type of action it is? It is the involuntary action which is not dependent upon our will. It automatically happens. Okay, this one is basically controlled by our autonomic nervous system. When you will study about the nervous system, I'll tell you the detail of the autonomic nervous system. Basically, all the involuntary actions are controlled by the autonomic nervous system. Got it? Now, when you think about the respiratory system, the first thing which is coming to your mind is the lungs. So, the expanding and contracting of the lungs when we are breathing in and breathing out, right? So, this is the physical exercise, whereas the respiration is something more than the breathing. So, if I think about only the breathing, is the physical thing, physical activity. But if we think about the respiration, all the different series of chemical activities will take place within our body along with the help of the different enzymes which will help us in the respiration process and which help us to get the energy, right? So we already have an idea about the breathing and respiration. So let us now go in depth about the respiratory system within our body. So what do you think? Can you some of you, can you please tell me some of the organs which are connected with the respiratory process other than lungs? Any other organs or any other part of the body which are like helping us in the respiratory process, or which is basically present in the respiratory system? Yes, quickly. I think that I have already mentioned two or three of them while teaching you the last concept. Yes? Okay. First one is the lung, definitely. Have you ever heard about trachea? Yes, Pragya, I was asking you the question that can you tell me some of the parts of our body which is directly helping us in the respiration, or which are included under our respiratory system? Yes. So lungs, trachea. Okay, diaphragm. Okay, diaphragm is just a membrane which is present under the lungs. Basically, it is the change of the position of the diaphragm takes place, but it is not directly helping us in the respiration, beta. Okay, but when we will study about the respiratory system, we have to know the position of the diaphragm also. So, in that sense, it is correct. Anything else? The balloon-like structures which are present within the lungs, what are they called? Yes, alveoli. We have studied about the bronchioles, bronchi also. Yes, so let's see what are the different organs which are present in the respiratory system. First of all, the respiration starts with the nose, right? That is the main important thing where through which we are breathing in. Yes, so nose contain the two main portions, the external nares and the nasal cavity, the nasal chamber inside. Then is the internal nares or the nose portion, the internal nasal cavity, and then the pharynx. It is a junction between the nose and the trachea. Then is the larynx. Do you know what is the common name of larynx? Yes, very good, Pragya. Larynx, pharynx. Okay. Then is the trachea. You can see this blue colored, bluish colored pipe like thing is known as the trachea, which we can also call it as the windpipe. Very good, Pragya. Yes, the larynx is the voice box. Great. Next, after the trachea, this trachea is branching into two and it is getting inside the two lungs. This branch, each of the branch is known as bronchus. And when we are considering two of them, the plural word of bronchus is bronchi. Got it? Yes. And then when they are going inside the lungs, they are branching again and again, right? So these branches are known as the bronchioles or smaller air passages, right? Okay, and finally they will end up in the air like structure, airbag like structures, which are known as the alveoli. So alveoli is not shown over here because they are very small in size, and definitely the two lungs are present. So let us see a 3D structure of the whole respiratory system. Okay, so try to understand the total position of the respiratory system. You can see over here, this is the nasal cavity through which we breathe in. While we breathe in, the air goes through this. Okay, it will go like this. This is the internal nasal cavity. Then it will go through the larynx, which you already know about. This larynx is the voice box. After the larynx, it is going inside the trachea. Trachea is supported with the ring-like structure so that it can prevent the collapsion when there will be no air inside it. Then are the two lungs. So you can see the two lungs, and always remember that the right lung is a little bit larger than that of the left lung, because the left lung is basically sharing some space with the heart. Okay, and the right lung has three lobes in it, and the left lung have two lobes in it, and just beneath is the diaphragm. Okay, this is the diaphragm. Got it? The total position of the respiratory system and what are the different things which are present in the respiratory system of our body. Yes? Chalo. So let's study now one by one about them. The very first one is the nose. Without the nose, we will not be able to take in the air, right? Yes, Pragya, when we breathe in, diaphragm goes down, not up. When we are breathing in, so what is happening? The lungs, the volume of the lung is increasing and the diaphragm will go downward. And when we breathe out, the diaphragm will come back to its upper position or the previous position. Got it? Chalo. So here the nose is there. You already know the external portion of the nose. It is having the internal nasal cavity. The two nostrils you can see from outside, which is separated by a septum. Yes, the septum is the separation which is separating the right side and the left side of the nostrils. And the most important thing is within the nose there are the hair lining. Along with the hair lining, there are certain glands which secrete the mucus. Okay, so why do you think this hair and the mucus is very, very important within our nose? Any idea? And that is why sometimes we are always suggested to breathe through the nose and not breathe through the mouth. So why it is suggested? Yes, quickly. So basically within our nose we have the hair particles which prevent the entry of any dust particles inside the lungs. Okay, so the mucus and the hair follicles will be able to prevent any dust particles to get inside the lungs. But if we just breathe through the mouth, there will be no any hair, right? We have any hair like structure within the mouth? No, na. So the whole dust particle can get inside the lungs and it can block the lungs. It can create a lot of different types of harmful effect within the lungs, and that is why it is always suggested to breathe through the nose and do not breathe through the mouth. Got it? Yes. So let me see one case. Like sometimes some bleeding comes out, or sometimes if somebody fell down, so what happened, he or she can break the nose, right? So you can see over here the boy is telling, ouch, I broke my nose and now I cannot smell the tasty chicken. So the girl is thinking, Why can't you smell the tasty chicken? So can you give me this answer? Why this boy is telling so? Yes. Why will not he not be able to smell anything, smell any very nice fragrance or the beautiful smell of the chicken and all? Quickly. So, okay, let me give you one hint. We already know that nose is one of our sense organ, right? So, what is the main function of the nose? To smell, right? Okay, so we have some receptors which we call as the olfactory receptors, which are present at the roof of the nasal cavity, and these receptors help us to receive the different smells. They help to detect the different smells, send the messages to our brain, and brain will tell, okay, a chicken is preparing, okay, this is something new I have not smelled first, right? So this smell will be determined by our brain, and the brain will tell us what type of smell it is. Okay. So since the boy's nose was broken, he will not be able to smell anything because most of the receptors which are present at the roof of the nasal cavity will be damaged. Okay. And this damage of the receptors will not let him smell any good things. Up to this much, okay? Yes. Now let's move on to the other functions of the nasal passage. First of all, I have already mentioned that they have the hair-like structures which prevent any entry of the dust particles. Secondly, it basically helps to warm the incoming air so that entering inside the nasal cavity so that a proper warm air or it will be able to maintain a proper temperature within our body. Thirdly, it moistened the dry air because we already know that within our body, 70% of the body is made up of the water, right? And we have to keep our body always moistened, right? And the fourth one is whatever microorganisms are present within our, with in the surrounding, this nasal hair along with the mucus will not let them enter within the nasal chamber, or it will prevent the entry of this microorganism within our body. Okay? These are the main functions of the nose. Now, you are already hear a lot of music, I think, right? You love to hear the music. Yes. Have you ever heard the song of the famous singers like Adam Levine or Rihanna? Yes. So, what do you think? How do they produce the voice or the sound, or how do they sing? It's basically dependent upon the voice box, and this voice box is the larynx, which is present over here. We can we can talk, we can sing, we can shout, all because of the presence of the voice box. Within the voice box there are the membranes, and a slit is present in between. The vibration of that membrane basically produce the sound. Okay, so this is the larynx, and the larynx in case of the boys during the adolescence, what happened, they increase in size, and that is why they the voice of the boy becomes a little bit deep, and that is why the voice box which is visible from outside in case of boys is known as the Adam's apple. Okay, so it is situated in between the trachea and the pharynx, and if you just swallow anything, just keep your hand or one or two fingers over here and try to talk, or keep your one or two fingers over here and try to swallow anything. While swallowing, you will be able to feel that something is rising up and falling down. That is nothing but the voice box or the larynx. Okay, so the main function of this voice box is to produce the sound. Okay, it has a hollow in between, and this hollow help them to produce the sound. So this is the slit in between the vocal cord, the vibration of which helps to produce the sound. So this you can see the nose, the nasal cavity. This is the epiglottis, which is a membrane which prevent any sort of, it is present in between the esophagus and the trachea, so that the food will not be able to go in the windpipe, And yes, that basically prevent the food to go inside the windpipe, otherwise it will be choked, and in certain cases, in extreme cases, it can cause a huge danger. Okay, so that's all about the larynx. Now coming to the pharynx, that is very important. The pharynx is starting from here at the nasal cavity, backside of the nose. This nasal cavity, nasopharynx and the oropharynx, these three structure together make up the pharynx. Okay, so this pharynx is a very common, it's the common path of both the air and the food. So it leads to the two opening, that is the windpipe and the food pipe. Okay, so in between the windpipe and the food pipe, there is a flap-like structure or a cartilage, elastic cartilage, that is the epiglottis, which help the air to go properly through the windpipe and food to go properly through the esophagus. Okay, so that will the food will not be able to enter in the windpipe and we will not get choked. Okay, so it is the function of entering of the food particles uh, properly and wind air particles properly in the windpipe. This is the main function of the pharynx. So have you ever wondered that when you were talking and eating with your family, so while eating sometimes you feel like you sometimes sneeze or cough, right? Why does it happen? Yes, it is because of the epiglottis. In some way, what happened? The food can enter inside the windpipe, which triggered the coughing. Yes, so there should be the flap, that is the epiglottis, which always prevent the food to enter into the windpipe. Okay, so if it you were talking and eating, while eating, if you were talking, then it can happen that the food can enter into the windpipe, which will result in coughing. Yes, when we drink water also. Exactly, Pragya. Exactly. Chalo. Next is the trachea. So this trachea is commonly known as the windpipe, and you can see over here the ring-like structures are there. The C-shaped ring-like structures are there, 16 to 20 incomplete rings. At the back there will be no continuation, but in the front you can see the total continuation. Can anybody tell me what is the main purpose of these ring-like structures? Yes. So now this trachea, that is the windpipe, when coming towards the lungs, they will branch into two. Those branches are known as the bronchi. So bronchi is the plural, as I've already mentioned, and bronchus is the singular word. Oh my God. Okay, Pragya. Now you're okay, I guess, right? Okay. So yeah, tell me what is the main purpose of these rings? Because these rings basically prevent the trachea from collapsing whenever there is no air in it. Okay, so while there is air, that is okay, the air will go through the windpipe or the trachea, but when there will be no air, to prevent the collapsion or the of the trachea, these rings are present. Okay, so let us just see the 3D model of the trachea with the help of this one. Okay, so you can see the different cartilages, the different membranes over here in the voice box region, and this is the trachea. So if I show you the back side of the trachea, it is like this. The continuation of the ring is not that much, but in front the rings are present properly so that it can prevent the collapsion. And here the trachea will be branched into the two main bronchi, and each of the bronchus will get inside the lung. So basically here one lung will be present and here another lung will be present. Got it? Yes? Okay. So this is the trachea, and let's move on to the next, the branches, which are known as the bronchus. So the bronchus are wider, shorter and more vertical in case of the right bronchus, right lungs, and than that of the left lung. So you can see over here the bronchus, the left bronchus, which is getting inside the left lung, is 5 centimeter long and it is narrow. But in case of the right lung, it is wider, shorter and more vertical.
So it is 2.5 centimeter long. So as I have already mentioned that the left lung is having two lobes only. So over here also the bronchus will be divided into two lobes, and finally it will go and subdivide into different bronchioles, the terminal bronchioles, respiratory bronchioles, alveolar duct, and finally it will enter into the alveoli. Those are the air sac. But in case of the right bronchus is getting inside the right lung, and we already know that the right lung is divided into three main lobes, right? So over here the bronchus will also be divided into three branches within the lungs. Got it? Yes. So let me give you one fact that the lungs is the only organ in our body which is capable of floating in water. Okay. Now coming to the lungs, the main respiratory organs. So these are the two lungs. We know that two lungs are present on the two side of the thoracic cavity, and they are cone shaped. As you can see, they have a base, they have a tip, they have the medial surface and the costal surface, and just beneath the two lung is the membrane like structure which is known as the diaphragm. Yes. Now let us see what is present within the lung. So here you can see that the trachea is coming down and it is entering in the two lungs as the branches which are known as the bronchi. Bronchi further will be divided into bronchioles, and each of the bronchioles will be terminated with the air sac like structures which is known as the alveoli. Okay? Up to this much clear? Let us see the 3D model of this lung again. Okay, so this is the lung. You can see that while breathing in and breathing out, the volume of the lung is increasing and decreasing. Yes, got it. So within the lungs, you can see that tree-like structures are there. This is nothing but the bronchioles. So outside the lung, these are the bronchi, which is divided into two and going inside the two lungs. And in each of the lungs, they are branching and they are forming the bronchioles. Fine. And after the bronchioles, they will be terminated in the alveoli. Fine. Yes, so let us see the structure of the lungs from outside. We can see that the right lung can be divided into three lobes. The three lobe will be the first one, uppermost is the superior, then is the middle, and last is the inferior, which is present downward. But left lung is divided into two lobes, the superior at the top and the inferior at the bottom, and the whole lung is basically enclosed within a serous membrane which is known as pleura. Okay, like you already have an idea about the heart is totally covered within the membrane which is known as pericardium. So here in the lungs they are also covered with the double membrane structure which is known as pleura, and within the pleura there is the pleural cavity. Fine. Hi Anubrata. Now, when this right lung and the left lung are divided into the three or two lobes, each from one lobe to another, there is a section. Okay, this division is known as the fissure. Okay, so if I draw over here, so let it be the right lung. We already know that the right lung is divided into three lobes. So you can see this yellow color structure with which I am dividing the lungs into different lobes. So these divisions are known as the fissures. Okay, up to this much clear hai? Yeah, hi Vedangi. Okay. Chalo. So this is all about the lungs, and you already got an idea. This is the pleura, the double membrane structure, serous membrane with a small fluid within it, and this membrane basically separate the lung within which the lung is present. It is separated inside. It will be adhered to the visceral pleura, and outside it will be connected with the thoracic cavity. That is the parietal pleura. Okay. Now, let's move on to what is happening inside the lungs, how the gaseous exchange is taking place. So, within the lungs, we already know that the blood capillaries are present. So, The alveoli is having the oxygen rich air, so they will give the oxygen to the blood alveoli, and the blood alveoli is coming with the carbon dioxide rich blood. So the carbon dioxide will be given to the alveoli as a return gift, right? So how the oxygen is taken and the carbon dioxide is released? So what are basically present within our lungs? 150 millions of alveoli are present. So the basic gaseous exchange takes place within this alveoli and the blood capillaries. So as the airways, it will progressively divide and divide. So it will be it will finally end in the thinner, simple squamous epithelial like structures are present that are nothing but the air sacs, which are known as the alveoli. So, alveoli is surrounded by the dense network of the capillaries. Let me show you the structure like this. So, these blood capillaries, when they are carrying the deoxygenated blood through the pulmonary artery from the heart, they are giving the carbon dioxide inside the alveoli so that we can breathe it out, and in turn they are taking in the oxygen from the alveoli towards the blood capillary, and it will form the pulmonary veins. And as we already know that the four pulmonary veins will enter inside the left side of the left auricle of the heart, right? So it will go inside the heart, and finally from the heart it will be distributed to all the different parts of the body where the blood will be oxygenated, right? So this oxygenation of blood takes place within the lungs. Always remember, it never happens in the heart, it happens within the lungs, and basically it happens between the alveoli and the blood capillaries. Got it? Yes, so this is one alveoli. This is the microscopic structure of the alveoli, which is having more oxygen. And this is the blood capillary, which is carrying the carbon dioxide. So what is happening? You can see the alveolar wall and the capillary wall are fused together firmly so that the oxygen which is present in the alveoli will get into the blood vessels, and the carbon dioxide which is present within the blood vessels, it will get inside the alveoli. And that is how the gaseous exchange takes place just by simple diffusion, and this is how this gaseous exchange takes place, and that is why we take in the oxygen and utilize it, and we can give out the harmful carbon dioxide. Up to this much clear hai? Yes. Okay, so let's summarize whatever we have studied about the respiratory system. The first thing we have studied about the nose, the external nose, from where we take, through which we take the air. The air enters into the nasal cavity where the hairs and the mucus are present, so that there will be no dust particles which will enter inside the lungs. Okay, it will prevent the dust particles. Then is the pharynx, through which this is the air passage, and this is a common passage for air and food. Then we have studied about the larynx. This is the voice box, the vibration of the vocal cord which helps to produce the sound. Then is the epiglottis, the flap which is present in between the food pipe and the windpipe, so that the food will not get inside the windpipe. It prevents that. Then we have studied about the trachea. The ring-like structures are present in the trachea to prevent collapsion, and this is the long tube, or we can also call it as the windpipe. Then the bronchi, the two divisions of the trachea, and finally when the bronchi are divided inside the lungs, we are getting the bronchioles, right? And finally is the alveoli, which are the air sacs or balloon like structures which are present within the lungs, where the main gaseous exchange takes place. ठीक है? So the lungs are the main respiratory organ within our body, which is totally covered by the double membrane blood structure. This is known as the pleura. Okay, so let's revise now with the help of a video. Yes, chalo.
Take a big breath in, hold it, and breathe out. Now let's begin. You just use your respiratory system. It is a system in humans that is designed to extract oxygen from the air so we can use it in respiration around the body, and at the same time get rid of carbon dioxide gas into the air, which is the waste product from respiration. Let's follow a molecule of oxygen gas as it travels through the respiratory system. As you inhale, the molecule is drawn in through the mouth or the nose. It goes into the back of the throat where it enters a tube called the trachea. The trachea or windpipe has special rings of cartilage to keep it open at all times so you can breathe if you are lying down asleep or on a trampoline. The oxygen molecule now travels down the trachea and then will go into either the left or the right lung via a tube called the bronchus. This bronchus then splits into smaller tubes called bronchioles. And finally, the oxygen molecule will make its way into a tiny air sac called an alveolus. These alveoli are surrounded by tiny blood vessels called capillaries, and the oxygen molecule now passes across from the air into the blood via a process called diffusion. At the same time, a carbon dioxide molecule goes the other way, coming out of the blood and into the alveoli as you exhale. As you exhale, the carbon dioxide will take the journey back up the bronchioles, a bronchus, the trachea, and out of the mouth. This happens to millions of molecules with each breath, as you have about 300 million alveoli in each lung. On average, you breathe like this 12 to 16 times a minute. Why not count yours after this video? Unlike your digestive system, the respiratory system is a dead end. If something bad gets into your lungs, it's very hard to get it back out. As usual, the body has an answer to this. Look very closely at the cells lining the trachea and the bronchi. Some of them have tiny little hairs on them called cilia. And in between these cells are other cells called goblet cells that are secreting mucus. This mucus traps dirt, dust and bacteria before it enters the lungs. The cilia then waft this mucus up into the mouth where it can be swallowed to be killed by your stomach acid. There are many things that can go wrong with your lungs, such as asthma, pneumonia and diseases associated with smoking, such as emphysema and chronic bronchitis. However, if you have a problem, a doctor may perform a bronchoscopy. This is when they put a tube with a light and a camera on it into your airways and look for signs of inflammation or bleeding. Take a big breath in, hold it, and breathe out, and relax.
Yes, so I hope that you have already understood how the total respiratory system works, right? Now let's discuss some of the question answers quickly. What are the functions of respiratory system? Quickly give me the answer. As you already know, whoever will give me the answer, he or she will be the student of the session for today, right? Yes, so what are the functions of respiratory system? At least write one or two function in the chat box. Yes. So the main functions are inhalation, exhalation, that is the very first one, that is the breathing, right? So after that, the gaseous exchange will take place within the lung. After that, the gas will be, like the oxygen will go to all the different parts of the body and the gaseous exchange will take place within the body tissues. And finally, the energy production will be taking place within the cells. And apart from that, some other functions are also there, that is the olfaction or smelling, which helps in which is done by the nose, and the vibration of the vocal cord, which helps in the uh, producing the sound, right? Coming to the next one, which tissue is found in the lining of the alveoli and alveolar duct? It is nothing but the simple squamous epithelial tissue. Okay, so note it down because this type of question you may get. Yes, very good. As you already know that the world is battling with the pandemic COVID, which is caused by the COVID virus. So how do you think that wearing a mask will be able to help you to prevent this type of disease? So these are the case-based studies question which can come. The common sense question. We already know that the virus, if we do not wear the mask, the virus will get inside our nasal cavity and it can get inside the lungs and affect it. But when we are using the mask is preventing them to enter towards our nose. That is why we should always wear the mask when we are going out. Fine. So these are all the different things which we have already studied in today's session. That is the part of the respiration, the four main steps: breathing, internal respiration, external respiration, and the cellular respiration, and the different organs which are associated with the respiratory system. That is the nose, bronchus, bronchi, bronchioles, then larynx, pharynx, lungs, trachea, and also the alveoli. Yes, so we have already studied about the structure as well as the functions of all these structures, right? So now is the time to tell you who is the student of the session. So whom do you think is the student of the session? So it's hat trick, right? Pragya. Again, very good. So thank you very much, Pragya, for giving me the answers from the beginning till the end. So thanks a lot for to all of you for staying till the end of the session. So clap for Pragya, everyone. Okay, this is your fourth time. Great, great. Okay, so thanks a lot for staying with me till the end of the session. We will again meet in the next session. So let me remind whoever has not subscribed the channel, please subscribe it and press the bell icon so that you will never miss any of the update of the upcoming sessions. And you can stay with us. You can ask your doubt in the chat box. So do not forget to like, comment, and share also. We will again meet in the next session. So till then, bye bye. Take care. Stay safe. Stay healthy. Bye bye.